just a different topic. Earlier this week on the floor, you made a comment about partisans directing phone calls straight to telephones on the Senate floor, and that your response was put on YouTube by the Republican Party as an outrageous, all-time low. Can you explain, the difference between those phones on the floor and the phones in the office?
Yes, and I will hand out, and I could do it today, exactly what I said on the floor. I never even said the word Republican. I was very cautious what I said, and then weigh their response, and you be the judge of who's being political and outrageous. But I'll pass out some sheets to show that, and I'm going to hand them out to the members of the Senate, and I'm going to ask the members of the Senate to consider what they want to do. And let me explain the difference between the phones. Every member of the Senate has official website and official phones that anybody can call, and they do. We get all kinds of phone calls and emails from all kinds of citizens from all districts, and there's incredible access. Anybody can walk into any senator's office anytime and visit. The phones on the floor are there not for every member, but they're in sections of the Senate where they are used for internal communications in the Senate. A phone I have is used to call the desk and say, what's the next item on the agenda. The only people who have those phone numbers are members of the Senate and their personal staff for the purpose of contacting, Senator, your office. If you're in the SOB, a minority member, instead of having to walk all the way over here, your office can call you and say, gee, do you know you've got to do this XYZ by such a time? So those phones have always been used purely for internal communications in the Senate. Members have always been very respectful of that. Frankly, most people in the Senate don't even know what those numbers are. Somebody gave those to the Republican Party. I believe that was unfortunate. I don't know who did that, but I believe it was unfortunate. And so during the debate on the floor, there were at least 15 phone calls to members of the Senate from citizens outside the Senate who were robocalled in to that telephone so that they could express their whatever they thought about that bill at the moment it was being discussed on the floor. In several instances, members of the Senate said, what bill, what are you talking, they were asking, what are you talking about? Well, I'm just against that bill. What bill? So I don't think that's a good use of a member's time on the Senate floor when they're trying to debate. I don't believe members of the Senate believe that's a good use. And if a Senate staff person, and I will give you his comments, that it doesn't matter what the members think, well, I disagree with him. It does matter. And so I will hand you 3 sheets that show you what I said, never even mentioned Republican Party, what their response was to me, and what the Republican Party response was. And as Majority Leader of the Senate, it doesn't matter whether I'm a Democrat or Republican, but decorum is very important. And it is simply outrageous to provide private numbers for that kind of political purpose. And I believe Mr. Michael Broadcorp ought to consider what his standards are for decorum. Is he the Republican Party operative when he's standing on the Senate floor, or is he an employee of the state Senate? He needs to consider that.